Hey everybody, welcome to the Old Ways New Process group. This is primarily going to be focusing on flint knapping aspects, but I may share some other things as well. This first video segment is really just an introduction of the group, what I'm looking at trying to accomplish, kind of what some of my expectations are, and what and what I'm wanting to offer to those of you of various skill levels. I'm going to be primarily presenting the pivot and fix insert flint knapping process to those who have no experience in flint knapping whatsoever. This process that I'm going to show and demonstrate is one that I see just tremendous value in for the newcomer. Now, those that are seasoned at this, been swinging a billet for a long time, for me, demonstrating with my wood billets and thinning that I'm able to do on big pieces, that's years and years of experience under your belt before you get to that level to where, for me, I can pick up a piece and I can thin it out just easy as can be. And that attracts people, seeing, someone using big billets and very precisely knocking off very thin, large flakes. But so some of the, does that mean that this process that I'm going to be presenting for those who are new at this, that I see that it's going to be very, very advantageous for, does that mean that it doesn't offer anything for those like me who are, who have some advanced, I don't want to say master flint knappers, I think that's coin is thrown around quite a bit. It depends on what genre people are in within flint knapping as to who's a master. Is a master napper of flake over grind, a master napper of abo, a master napper of... Anyways, I'm not going to get into that. The point of the matter is I believe that this new method and system offers something for everybody. I've just been working with this and put my billets down, and I can say that, like somebody going on a diet or something, I have a craving to pick up my billets and just go to town and, thinning stuff out. And so for those who have that background, you'll probably find the same thing, and it isn't going to replace me having fun picking up my billets and doing that. But at the same time, I don't have to. You're going to see that. I don't have to. And for the newcomers that are up and comers that you decide to try this, you may not want to take the training wheels off. And what that impact may have down the road, year, 2 years from now, when we see people who are just coming into flint knapping, and I believe that's the thing that this offers, is this is possibly an old way of doing something that is rediscovered. Who knows? But if the archaeological community doesn't want to embrace what I'm bringing to the table as to this tool here and all this toolkit, this tool right here of what is called in archaeology as an arrow shaft wrench. When I make my arrows, I don't use an arrow shaft wrench. I use my hands and leather. It works much better for me. An arrow shaft wrench, having one of these and lugging it around just for that one specialty purpose. What I know about native cultures, of living in a native culture for a long time and having some things shared with me that aren't shared to even the archaeological community and anthropologists and all them, Native Americans will tell you they've been studied to death. They have experiences and they know what happened to Ishi, his brain that's still in a jar, all the stuff against his wishes. You really think that there isn't a lot of information that went to the grave because people weren't willing to share it with someone else? You got somebody in front of you who's going to study you, and they know that they're studying you, and they're going to provide you all the information when they start piecing things together? No, I don't think so. At any rate, I'm getting off on a tangent. This, what's called an arrow shaft wrench or something else, I believe had a dual use. And right now some people are quibbling over, oh, it looks like a crutch. Or, let me ask you, how did a crutch come to get named a crutch? Well, because it looked like a crutch that people walked around on supporting their bodies. And I got some guys saying, well, oh, it could possibly have been a crutch, I guess. Now people are speculating that it could have had another use. For 150 years of archaeology, nobody said, oh, we think this is a tool for flintknapping, as opposed to a tool for making arrows. But now all of a sudden it's like, well, no, I think that it's a crutch. Yeah, you take a long shaft that's 7/16 to 1/2 of an inch, which is generally the size of these holes, and you put that shaft on there and you go ahead and bear weight down on and have the high failure rate of these breaking, and watch what happens when that thing punctures through you. So at any rate, I believe it was something else. I believe that it was an instrumental piece in a way of flintknapping. Now, it doesn't really matter for me because my discovering this came about because of my back injuries and my limitations. I had originally used something that Northern Aztec Chief Jim Fire Eagle called a chest press, not a crutch, because it didn't resemble a crutch, big old thing somebody's lugging around. It resembled a press, but it was a fixed piece that came out, and he would put it on his chest and bend over along an anvil and do some amazing work with it. So from discussions with him and different things, and then my using that press in that manner, trying to work flints again, because I've had to give it up because of my limitations. Obsidians I could do fine with the methods I commonly use, but with pressure flaking, and I was trying to come up with oblique pressure flaking to be exact, and on flints, and I was using the crutch, and it was still hurting my back. And Jim Fire Eagle at the time, he would demonstrate, and his neck would be problem, and his back would be a problem, and he'd go to his vehicle and pull out his little bottles of herbal remedies that he would make. I'm not referencing alcohol or anything else he didn't drink. It was herbal remedies that from natural plants that to help his back. But at any rate, so it came about of me thinking about this tool of various shapes like this. Some are flat that have a hole drilled all the way through. High amount of breakage. Why? What was causing that kind of an impact to cause a breakage? And I don't believe it was due to using it as an arrow wrench on wood that's heated to easily bend anyways. And not only that, you're going to make a mark in your wood and your shade. I've been there, done all that. So I'm pressure flaking, and all of a sudden I'm thinking about this napper. It goes by napper in Yucatan. Showed another grave with one of these in it again on these posting up from old articles. And I've done the same thing. And he's commented that some of the research that I've done, he hasn't seen anybody else come across those same things that he's reading. So seeing it over and over again, I'm literally using the Fire Eagle's chest press, not crutch. That's what they called it. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, looking at the tools and the punches and all those things in there, I thought, wait a minute, what if this is something similar but used differently, in a different manner? So I was looking at those tools, the punches and the different things, and I started thinking, could they have been inserted here and it been across here? The pressure that you're having to put, and then here's a little, this is out of antler, and I'll be demonstrating to you use of wood on flint. And just all of a sudden my billets now, I'm bifacing, I'm pressure flaking, I'm doing all of these things, and this introduction isn't to demonstrate right now. It's just to simply talk to you, show you how little of a kit that you are able to carry around. Not only that, is my billets that I use for demonstrating are big. You have to for wood. I use antler too, but primarily wood, and they're big. Anybody who's flint knapping and bifacing with wood, they make jokes, you know, they're like bowling pins or anything else. This is the one that I just made that's very small, and actually I can go smaller than this as a billet. And this is hardwood. This one here is basswood, or beechwood, I'm sorry. And I usually prefer, I like cherry. This other piece here that I have is either ironwood or mesquite, I can't remember which. But the beechwood doesn't have the elasticity that I like in, but it's very effective. I'm totally thinned out a piece yesterday that I was demonstrating on an anvil, and went to doing this, and it's amazing. No logs. I'm not using an anvil. I'm not using just this one toolkit, and I'm bifacing, pressure flaking, doing all those things. And the thing about it is, for me to be doing this, I'm wiping away a lot of what I've already learned that's taken me years and years to learn, and I'm already producing. And that tells me that you out there who have never learned any other method but wanted to learn to flint knap, this is the way for you to start. But I'm not going to put up with anybody on here that's challenging anything, because the reason I came across this was for me. I've got a cage in my back. I've got a rod through this leg, pins in my ankle. You can do this method sitting on the ground if you want to, the way that it used to be done, kneeling down if you want to, or sitting on a log by a pond, out in the wild, with a minimal toolkit. But if somebody wants to bring something up that's challenging, that makes sense, then that's fine. But just to throw something out that this isn't something unique, new, put up or shut up. That's why I've patented the process. And I haven't patented the process to be making money, all this, because I've had the same experience over the years that I've been doing this, of sharing things that nobody else knew. And then years down the road, you come to start seeing it being common knowledge, named after some guy. I haven't named this process pivot and fixed insert press knapping, flint knapping. It's not named after me. I'm not having some crutch that's named after me that supposedly came from some other tribe or some other peoples who, by the way, had names given to them instead of going by their own name. Now, with something like this that's been in the grave, a process that I believe has been forgotten and rediscovered, well, that's like somebody dropping an arrowhead on the ground, losing it, and somebody else coming along and finding it. So, but that isn't proven. Archaeology hasn't embraced the arrow shaft wrench as a new tool. So until that time, I guess this is just a new process that I invented.